All right, folks, it's the online dinner party. Once again, we are here having another online dinner party, and we're going to see who pops in. I know that I'm expecting Sarah Hill to show up at some point, and she's got some exciting things that she's going to talk about. So we're going to find out what that's all about. And of course, there will be some other engaging conversations as well. We do know a number of things are happening in our community, so we're trying to pay attention to all the things that are happening in the world that folks might be interested in, including those House impeachment proceedings that are going on as we're speaking. So that's one of the things that's going on. I was actually just outside earlier today, and the weather is actually pretty mild out there for a January day. It was actually, I had my coat on, but I don't think I needed it after a while because it was actually fairly mild for January the 13th. So, like I said, the weather was enjoyable, and I was glad to see that my Marquette Golden Eagles actually managed to win their game yesterday against Providence because, we do not like being under 500. And it seems like every time that I talk to y'all about that, that's one of the things that we're facing, whether we'll be under 500 or above 500. So once again, we're above 500. And once again, I'm hoping that we'll get on a winning streak so we can stay above 500 and hopefully make some sort of noise in the Big East tournament and possibly even the NCAA tournament when that comes around. We do know a number of folks are paying attention to what's going on in the sense of how COVID and the pandemic is impacting sports and a number of other things. So definitely got that going on and all of that. So we're going to just keep on rolling and see what is happening in that regards and see how things go from here on in with that. So like I said, that's one of the things that I've been paying attention to. Also trying to see how certain NFL teams do as we are in the middle of the playoffs. I know that I've got some friends that are rooting for certain teams. My brother, as well as one of my good friends, was definitely rooting for the Bears, and they did not pull that off. So they are not one of the finalists. And of course, I've got a good friend that is definitely a longtime Packer fan. So we're going to see whether they are a happy Packer fan later on or whether the Rams disrupt their kind of thoughts. And then there is the other games that are going on as well. Of course, we've got Buffalo against Baltimore, and of course that means that two friends of mine will be going up head to head because one is a diehard Buffalo fan and another one is a diehard um, Buffalo fan, right? A Buffalo fan and a Baltimore fan. So we've got diehard Buffalo and Baltimore fans, and we're going to see which one of them gets the bragging rights and all of that after the game this weekend and everything. So that's just some of the games that are going on. And of course, you've also got a number of other teams that are still alive and well as also. So I think we're down to like 8 teams, which means that there are 2 games apiece on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see how this all plays out and then who plays for the championship and then who eventually plays for the Super Bowl. So we are still in those kind of things going on in that regard. And like I said, a number of folks are paying attention to what happened in the world of the insurrection, and that's all I can call it, is an insurrection that took place on recently, and how folks are dealing with that, and also the impact it will have on politics and political futures and all of that. So I do know there is a movement in the House right now for impeachment proceedings to go on and all of that. Now, whether that takes place or not, who knows, as that particular person has only got another, I believe, 7 days in office, 7 days left in office and all of that. So I'm thinking that it probably, but I know a number of folks are thinking we need to go through these proceedings in order for him never to be able to run again and not even possibly even be a dog catcher or anything along those lines. So that's one of the things that folks are paying attention to and are definitely observing in that regard. So we are seeing that a number of folks are paying attention to that and trying to see what is going to be the impact in terms of people's political futures and all of that. I do know that there are probably some people that are still wanting to run for office, and who knows, they might still have some other political ambitions and things along that line. So I think that that is why the House and others are still going on with those Senate hearings and all of that in terms of like impeachment proceedings and anything else that they may have on their mind. Don't forget, this is the online dinner party. And of course, we will have some mystery guests coming in. And I do have some clues for those mystery guests. I'll be revealing those clues possibly even later on in this hour. And I know that at about 5 o'clock, Sarah Hill will be joining us, and she'll be talking about Helium, which is an organization that she is part of, and all of that. And I'm also expecting possibly a gentleman from India to be joining as well. So I did have some communication with him, and he did say that he would be trying to join us later on this afternoon. So I'm hoping that he'll pop in as well. So we definitely have some great guests lined up, and we're going to see what they come around and talk to you about for the dinner party. And like I said, we do have our mystery guests, and like I said, one of them is in the field of novelty entertainment. So don't be trying to think of singers or musicians. Try to think of something in the novelty field. And I think that I've given all kinds of clues that make it very obvious this time around. So I don't think that I was given hard clues or anything along those lines. I think that y'all should be able to figure this out without any difficulty whatsoever. But sometimes I am shocked, and y'all don't always catch the things that I am thinking that y'all will catch. But we're going to find out how quick y'all are on the draw, and if y'all can figure out what some of these clues are and who the mystery guest is. I've actually got two, and I may line up a third mystery guest. Who knows who our mystery guest will be for the dinner theater, but I do have two of them, and like I've always tried to do, one is international and one is a national mystery guest. And like I said, that national one is involved in the world of entertainment. Like I said, the national one is involved in the world of entertainment, but y'all are trying to guess what that person is and what that world is and all of that. So like I said, we're going to see if y'all can figure it out or not figure it out. Y'all are some pretty smart cookies, so I think that y'all should be able to get this with no problem whatsoever. But sometimes y'all fool me, so we're going to see if y'all fool me or not, or if y'all are able to figure it out and roll with it one way or the other. But like I said, I am curious to see whether y'all figure out my mystery guest or not. But that mystery guest will be coming your way in the very near future. So I'm hoping that y'all will have an idea of who the mystery guest is and able to show up and talk to our mystery guests and see what they are all about. So we do love having mystery guests pop in and all of that. So definitely, if you get a chance, pop on in, check out our mystery guests. Definitely, I think that you will find it to be very interesting, and that you should be able to guess who the mystery guest is and all of that. So definitely, I'm hoping that y'all will be able to guess who my mystery guest is, and I'm also going to reveal some news items that are going on in the world as well. So definitely keep in tune and try to figure out who I'm talking about. And then, like I said, I am expecting Sarah to come in, who's with Helium, and talk about what that's all about. But she's on Central Time, so I'm not expecting her till around 5 o'clock, and it's already 4:09, 4:10 here. So definitely we'll see whether she gets a chance to pop in or not. And she did tell me yesterday that she should be able to make it around 4 o'clock her time, like I said, and that is Central Time where she's at, because I believe she's in Missouri, if I remember correctly. So I think that she is based in the Missouri area. So if I remember correctly, that is where she's based at. And like I said, they're doing some very fascinating things, and I'm interested in learning more about what that is all about and what they're doing in that regard. So I'm sure a number of you are also curious to find out about these amazing people that I sometimes find and the different organizations that they are part of. So, like I said, I did say I would give you some news about the impeachment, and right now they're saying that the U.S. House of Representatives is meeting the impeachment of President Trump and continuing fallout from last week's deadly Capitol riot after Vice President Mike Pence declined to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove him from office. Several Republicans, including Representative Liz Cheney, Republicans from Wyoming, said they will join the Democrats in voting to impeach Trump. He would be the only president ever to be impeached twice. So that's not something that I don't think he was trying to have in his repertoire of things that he wanted to have happen in his life and all of that. So definitely, as a matter of fact, I'm seeing right now that in terms of the resolutions, we've got 140 Republicans that voted yes, and 7 Republicans that voted yes, and it looks like 149 of the Democrats so far have voted no as well. And then there's some other numbers that are flashing also on the screen. So it sounds like some of the votes are still going on, and we'll just figure out which way it goes and all of that. So it says the U.S. House of Representatives is voting on an article of impeachment against President Trump for the incitement of insurrection in last week's deadly Capitol riot. And like I said, there are a couple of Republicans that have crossed over and everything. It says a simple majority of 218 House votes are needed to impeach Trump. If the article is improved, Trump would be the only president ever to be impeached twice. Earlier Wednesday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell rejected the idea to convene an emergency session for an impeachment trial, which means it would likely come after he leaves office. There are just 7 days left in Trump's term. He departs on January 20th when Joe Biden will be sworn in as president. So definitely it looks like some other Republicans are voting yes. As a matter of fact, it says 2 more GOP House members voting yes, in addition to the 7 that had announced their intentions in advance. Representatives Tom Rice of South Carolina and Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio are currently yes votes. Members are allowed to change their mind until voting closes. So the 7 Republican members of the House who have said they will vote to impeach President Trump include Representative John Katko, a Republican from New York, Representative Liz Cheney, like I said, a Republican from Wyoming, Representative Adam Kinzinger, a Republican from Illinois, Representative Fred Upton, a Republican from Michigan, Representative Jamie Herrera Butler, a Republican from California, Representative Dan Newhouse, a Republican from Washington, and Representative Peter Meijer, a Republican from Michigan. There were multiple reports indicating as many as 24 might vote in favor of impeachment, though that number is now expected to be smaller. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has told his Republican colleagues Wednesday that he is undecided on an impeachment conviction for President Trump. While the press has been full of speculation, I have not made a final decision on how I will vote, and I intend to listen to the legal arguments when they are presented to the Senate, McConnell said in a statement released by his office. Earlier Wednesday, McConnell said he will not reconvene the U.S. Senate in an emergency session for an impeachment trial before January 19th, 1 day before Trump leaves office. So definitely it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out and all of this. And by the way, on a different note, one of those activist ladies and everything that's in Congress and everything, Representative Ayanna Pressley, Democrat of Massachusetts, as her husband, Conan Harris, has tested positive for COVID-19. He was with her in the Capitol complex during last week's ride. He has mild symptoms. Representative Presley has tested negative. Harris and Representative Presley are in isolation. So definitely let's keep our thoughts for them and everything as they are dealing with that situation as well. And we do know a number of folks are dealing with that also. As a matter of fact, I just had to do my second test at one of the jobs that I have and everything, because they are trying to test us on a weekly basis. So, you know, even though it's doing some rote work and some boxes and things of that nature, they do try to test us on a weekly basis. And so far it's been on Wednesday. So I've done it now twice. And they are right. It's just not the most pleasant experience and everything, but definitely not something that you want to have happening on a regular basis. But in this day and time, we have to be safe and definitely do the things that are needed in that regard. By the way, Cori Bush calls Trump the white supremacist in chief, or white supremacist in chief. Representative Cori Bush, Democrat of Missouri, invoked the threat of white supremacy in her call to impeach President Trump. If we fail to remove a white supremacist president who incited a white supremacist insurrection, it's communities like Missouri's 1st District that suffer the most, Bush said. The 117th Congress must understand that we have to mandate to legislate in defense of Black lives. The first step in that process is to root out white supremacy, starting with impeaching the white supremacist in chief. So definitely some very strong words that were put out in that regards as well. And then Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican from Georgia, wore a mask that says censored while she gave a speech on the House floor addressing her congressional colleagues in a way that was anything but censored as she spoke into a microphone during the televised House floor debate. In her speech, Greene pointed the fingers at Democrats, claiming that out of Trump's 600 rallies in the past 4 years, none of them included assaulting police, destroying businesses, or burning down cities. Democrats will take away everyone's guns just as long as they have guards with guns, Green said as she motioned to the entrance of the House chamber where Capitol Police stood alongside new metal detectors. So definitely we're seeing some strong words on both sides and all of that. In a statement released by the White House, President Trump said, in light of reports of more demonstrations, I urge that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind. That is not what I stand for, and it is not what America stands for. I call on all Americans to help ease tensions and calm tempers. Thank you. Trump has yet to formally concede to the 2020 presidential election to Joe Biden, and last week urged his supporters to march on Congress after telling them to come to Washington, D.C. for a quote unquote wild time. Hours later, as police attempted to clear the Capitol, Trump posted a video telling the rioters it was time to go home. He repeated his lies that the election was stolen from him and told the hundreds who had committed federal crimes that they were quote unquote very special and we love you. So that's some of the things that he's been saying. And it seems like he just cannot get with his mindset that he is definitely lost the election and he needs to move on to doing other things as well. So I do not know why he cannot get that thought into his head and all of that. But apparently he's having a hard time understanding what goes on with elections and all of that. So like I said, that's what some of the things that are going on in the news are. And by the way, one of the leaders of the House Republicans, Representative Kevin McCarthy, believes that President Trump bears responsibilities for the January 6th riot in the U.S. Capitol, but still doesn't support impeachment, he said during the impeachment debate on today. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding. These facts require immediate action of President Trump, McCarthy said on the House floor. And the president's immediate action also deserves congressional action, which is why I think a fact-finding commission and essential resolution would be prudent. Unfortunately, that is not where we are today, he added. McCarthy insisted impeachment in such a short time frame would be a mistake. No investigations have been completed. No hearings have been held. What's more, the Senate has confirmed that no trial will begin until after President-elect Biden is sworn in, McCarthy said. But here's what a vote to impeach would do. A vote to impeach would further divide this nation. McCarthy did not provide evidence that Trump's first impeachment and Pennsylvania's electoral college votes based on unfounded allegations of voter fraud after rioters stormed the Capitol. But on Wednesday, McCarthy was insistent that Biden won the election and will be sworn in as president next week. The presidency in this Congress will face immediate challenges that must be addressed, he said. I stand ready to assist in that effort with good faith, goodwill, and an open hand. 5 people died in the insurrection last week, including one Capitol Police officer, Brian Sicknick, who was reportedly struck in the head with a fire extinguisher by a rioter. After the riot, McCarthy's Senate counterpart, looks like they broke things. His Senate counterpart, Senator Mitch McConnell, broke with him, acknowledging Wednesday night that Biden was president-elect. And after House Democrats begun drawing articles of impeachment, media outlets reported that McCarthy wouldn't force his caucus to vote to acquit. So definitely looks like that's definitely some interesting conversations that are going on in that regard, as well as a number of other things that are happening in our world. So definitely that's some of the things that are taking place. And I know a number of folks are paying attention to what's happening in their world and all of that. So hopefully many other people will pay attention as well. And we'll have some other folks engaged in the conversations also. So that's just some of the some music and everything. And then we'll come back with some more conversations about some other important things